Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Girly Nerd Podcast. Today, I am back with my good friend Sarah, and we are counting down our favorite movies to watch during the fall, autumn, Halloween season. And because we love so many films, we have decided to do a top 10 instead of a top 5. So this is going to be a two-part video. Today, we are going to do numbers 10 through 6 plus a few honorable mentions, and the second video will be our top 5 plus a few honorable mentions. So before we get started on this particular movies, I just want to talk about why I love watching certain kinds of movies during this time of year, and ask you what your reasonings for liking to watch movies this time of year.
Sure.
For me, it's I would say the last maybe 5 years, I've really gotten into watching a lot of films during the Halloween season, much more so than before. I would usually watch, maybe 3-4 movies, and that's about it. And Christmas was the big thing. And now Halloween rivals Christmas for me as far as the number of things I watch. Christmas is there's still more, but I've learned to broaden my horizons as far as what I like to watch. So I watch some scarier things now. Nothing too bad, but I love cozy mysteries. Anything with that sort of autumn atmosphere, spooky atmosphere, and traditional scary movies and then family movies. I love getting into the spirit of the season by watching all these films. Are you kind of the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Halloween's my favorite time of year, and the fall season itself. So I have been really trying to broaden my horizon a little bit and reach out into different genres. I still really need to get into some more murder mysteries. I feel like I haven't given them enough chance, but I will. But I'm really into the gothic horror,
Yes.
and just beautifully shot films that really embrace fall colors and or a spooky atmosphere with blues tones and yeah, I selfishly wish there were more full on fall movies
Yes.
out there, besides what you see on the Hallmark Channel. Maybe some ones we can go see in the theater. Oh my gosh, something on the IMAX and beautifully shot fall colors would be so spectacular.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that so much. Like what my blanket looks like, back here.
Exactly.
All those autumn colors. Yeah.
I think we've got a great list that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah. So why don't we start with some of your honorable mentions?
Sure. First one on my list is the 2012 adaptation of The Woman in Black, starring Daniel Radcliffe. I really enjoyed this as someone who loves gothic horror, and it was the first film I saw Daniel Radcliffe in where I was able to separate him from Harry Potter, which was a nice surprise. And it was cool to see him in such a different role, especially playing a father and tackling this genre of gothic horror. And this movie is really creeped me out. I mean, it's a dark subject matter when you think about
Sure.
children being murdered. It's very dark subject matter, and it doesn't even have a great ending, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But it's very unsettling and just some truly horrifying, what's the word I'm looking for? Shots, I guess, in the film. Anytime I see a creepy figure that's running at you screaming, to me, that is the most terrifying thing in the world.
Yeah.
So this movie definitely had some good jump scares. But I really just want to highlight the cinematography. The cinematographer for this film was Tim Maurice Jones, and I feel like he did just such a good job capturing that Gothic vibe from the turn of the century. And something I really love about this movie was the fact that Daniel Radcliffe's godson plays his son in the film.
Yeah, and that's sweet.
Um, so yeah, I thought that was really cute. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah, so I'm gonna save my full thoughts because this one's in my top 5.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's one I discovered actually on Halloween one year. I was flipping through streaming services, wanting to watch something I've never seen before, and I'm like, "Oh, this looks good," because the poster you could tell it's period piece, and I'm like, "Oh, Daniel Radcliffe, I've never seen this," and it definitely is the first movie I was watching where I don't feel like I'm watching Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He feels much more grown up, and yeah, because he's a father, and that is a sweet thing that his godson played his son. I think that's why maybe he's so comfortable with him.
Yeah.
And there you could feel the family dynamic there, and I love a good Gothic movie, Victorian, Edwardian Gothic creepy spooky movie. And this one has such great atmosphere. It's funny that I like it as much as I do because of the subject matter, because I'm such a sensitive person.
Right.
I hate anything where kids are hurt, and yet that is what the movie is about. So I think it's just a testament to how well made the film actually is.
Right.
So let's just go ahead and go through all your honorable mentions, and I'll go through mine.
So my next one is the 2023 adaptation of The Haunted Mansion. And I really feel like this one is the best adaptation we have so far of the attraction from the Disney parks. I really liked how many Easter eggs that they put in this towards the attraction. And it wasn't done in a cheesy way. Everything kind of made sense. And it just was such a good homage to the ride. And even with that aside, it still was a really good story. For anyone who hasn't seen it, in this version, it's about a single mom and her son, and they discover that their new home is haunted, and they enlist this team of unique characters to come help them rid the home of the spirits. And it's got a stacked cast. Rosario Dawson, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jared Leto. It's like a huge ensemble cast. And I just love that every aspect of it you can throw back to something you've seen on the ride. And, you'll see a ghost in the background and you'll be like, I recognize them from the ride. Like, just really, really well done, I thought. And it had really good humor. It wasn't too scary, but it did have a good, few jump scares. And visually, it was really cool looking. It's always fun to watch. Like, the Haunted Mansion is one of my favorite rides. So it's always fun to see something like that kind of come to life in a bigger venue, such a, like a movie, where they can explore more of it. And it's the reason that we now have the Hatbox Ghost on our attraction at Walt Disney World, which, it's been in the Disneyland version for quite some time. But because of this movie, we were finally able to get it on the East Coast side.
Yeah, and I love that happened because it's such a cool figure to have in there. And I didn't know that. I just, I don't know why. Maybe I actually thought it was in there because I've never been to Disney World. So I think I just kind of assumed it was in there too. But that's cool that the movie was able to give the East Coasters something fun for their ride. Yeah. I loved this version. I was, cautiously optimistic because the one from 2003 isn't my favorite. I have warmed to that one over the years. I really kind of hated it at first, and now it's like it's fine. I'll put it on when I have extra time. I do like the little boy in that one. I think he's super cute.
Yeah.
Especially when he's telling him to kill a spider, and he's like, "But I don't have a magazine," because that's how he told him how to kill it. But I think the issue with that one is, especially compared to the newer one, is that the humor is there, but the emotion falls flat.
Yeah.
Especially from Eddie Murphy. He's a very funny guy, but the emotional core of that film just doesn't really work. But in the new one, it works really, really well.
Right.
It's beautifully done. I love the story. I love the sweet little boy in this one, and in the single mom, and the story with Lakeith Stanfield I thought was really moving, and I love that part at the end with the cat named Tater Tot. I'm like, that is so sweet. And yeah, the Easter eggs are fantastic. It's the kind of movie you need to watch multiple times so you could pick up on all of them. And I thought they were very well done. It captures what the Haunted Mansion is. It's spooky and funny at the same time.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it. And I love the cast. I've always loved Owen Wilson. I think he's so charming. And he's funny in this. I remember watching it going, I bet you he's not really a priest, I'm like, I don't think a priest would act this way. And I was right. But I'm like, it's okay. Great movie. And I can't wait to watch it again this year. I've only watched it.
Me too. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
It's fairly new. So, and then do you have another honorable mention?
Yeah, I have one more. And that is 2004's The Village. And mostly it's on my honorable mentions list and not my actual list because I really hated the twist. 3/4 of the way through, and I know that's what you get with an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but I was really enjoying everything up until the twist. But this is just a visually stunning movie, and shout out to the cinematographer Roger Deakins who did this. It's the use of color in this movie I think is phenomenal, and it really I think is one of those good fall mysteries that is a little bit creepy, but it has a lot of emotion to it. The performances in this were outstanding, especially Adrian Brody. Wow. I mean, just a really strong performance, and there were moments in this that just make you gasp, and it's almost like your heart stops, and it's a wild ride. Yes.
I love The Village, and this is another one I'm going to save my full thoughts because this is in my top 5 as well, because I'm probably the more unpopular one in that the ending doesn't bother me in the least. Even rewatching it, yours is the more popular opinion, I think, for sure. And it's true. M. Night Shyamalan will be very hit or miss for people. I totally agree about the look of the movie. The cinematography is just gorgeous. It has that autumn spooky atmosphere that I love in movies. And yeah, the performances are phenomenal. Adrian Brody, Bryce Dallas Howard is so good in this, and I think this was like her first movie, which is amazing to me because she's so good. She's so good, and especially playing someone who she can't rely on what she has for real, which is her sight. So she had to learn how to convincingly play someone who's blind, and she did for sure. And yeah, I love the use of color with the woods, and then the pop of yellow with their hoods, and the red with the creatures, and the moments at nighttime with like the fire and the torches and stuff. Just amazing. And I'll probably talk about this again, but the score. It's James Newton Howard. Gorgeous score. I mean, it evokes the feeling of the movie perfectly, and the violin. I'm going to look up who the violinist who does like the solos, because it's just gorgeous. But so look forward to talking more about The Village and The Woman
Yeah, I
in
have
Black.
more thoughts, but I'll save them.
So my honorable mentions, I have 2 like classic ones and 2 more contemporary ones. So the first classic one is called Midnightlace. It's from 1960. It's with Doris Day and Rex Harrison and Myrna Loy. It's kind of fun seeing Myrna Loy a lot older in this movie. Roddy McDowall is also in it. And it's not an Alfred Hitchcock movie, but it definitely has the feel of an Alfred Hitchcock movie, the style and the atmosphere, the acting, the tension is all done so well. The director's name is David Miller. So you could see the influence of Hitchcock for sure. And lots of other movies around that era definitely tried to emulate him. And this one did it really well. It's a great melodrama. For anyone who doesn't know the plot, Doris Day is married to Rex Harrison, and they are living in London. She's an American and very wealthy. And one day she's walking home, and it's super foggy, and she's in the park, and it's so foggy that she can't like see even in front of her. And all of a sudden she hears this like maniacal, creepy voice in the fog talking to her directly and threatening her. And so obviously it terrifies her. So she runs home and then tells, is her husband home? I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but she tells someone, and then the person starts phoning her and threatening her. And the voice is so creepy. You could tell, it's altered with like a machine or something. Mm-hmm. And it's such a creepy voice. And you can understand why she would be so frightened, obviously. You don't ever hear everything he says because of the year it was made. It was the type of thing like the police say, oh, these men would say these things to shock women, it's just like a prank. But it's truly scary for her, and she's fearing for her life. But then they start to wonder, like, is this really happening? Is she making it up? It has a really good twist at the end of it, and it's an excellent movie. I recommend checking it out. I doubt it's streaming. I should have looked that up.
I wasn't able to find it.
It probably, you might be able to rent it. Or, sometimes I'm someone who will sometimes blind buy like DVDs and Blu-rays. Mm-hmm. And so if that sounds like something that's up your alley, you could always find the DVD. It's probably not very much, like on Amazon.
Yeah.
So you've never seen it. Have you seen very many movies with Doris Day?
I probably have. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure I have, though.
Well, most people think of her in like either her like musicals from the 50s or like her sex comedies from the 60s with Rock Hudson, like Pillow Talk and movies like that. Those are her most famous ones. So this one is definitely more like a lower tier movie, but I think it's really good. And then the second classic movie is called Arsenic and Old Lace. It's from, where is it from? 1944. This is a Frank Capra movie, but a very unconventional Frank Capra movie. His movies tend to be more dramatic, serious, populist, feel-good sort of movies like It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, It Happened One Night. This movie is so zany and kooky and funny and kind of occasionally a little scary. And it's with Cary Grant. And it takes place on Halloween, and it's in black and white. So it gives it that really fun, old-fashioned Halloween feel. And so he plays someone, he just got married, and he takes his wife home to meet his aunts, who are basically, they're insane. They're very sweet, but they are not right in the head. And neither is his cousin. Is it his cousin? I think it's his cousin, who thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt. So his cousin's pretty harmless. All he does is pretend to be the president, over and over again. But his aunts, they have these old men come and visit them, and they're like lonely, and they think they're sad. So out of mercy, they put like poison in their tea and kill them out of like mercy. And they think they're doing a good thing. And so when he comes home and he discovers a body in the window seat, he's like, what the heck? What's going on? And then they tell him, they're like, oh, that's just so-and-so, and there's more in the basement. And he's like, oh my gosh, what the heck? They're crazy. And then there's his brother is like a lunatic as well, and he's like an escaped fugitive, and he comes home and he's made himself look like Boris Karloff and wants to perform like surgeries on people. It sounds so dark, but it's really funny. And Cary Grant famously didn't like his performance in this movie. He thinks he's too over the top, but he kind of had to be to sell the situation he's in. I think he's really, really funny. And it's a great movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. And then the other movies, the first one is Ghostbusters, which, classic. I didn't enjoy the very most recent one very much at all. But the one before that, and Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters with all the women, I liked all those. But the original is still my favorite. I think it's still the best feel, still the best, script, cast chemistry. So fun. It's so quotable. It's one like my brother and I love quoting, especially like the two that stand out for me is Bill Murray's like dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, and the other one, Ernie Hudson, it's probably my favorite line in the movie. He's like, Ray, if someone asks if you're a god, you say yes. That's probably my favorite line in the whole movie. So good. Great cast. Yeah, like I said, Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis. Rick Moranis is so cute and funny in this movie.
Right.
Poor guy, I know. And it's such a classic movie. And it's fun, nice to have movies that, like Haunted Mansion, are a mix of, they're a little scary, but then they're funny too,
Yeah.
It's something that'll make you feel good when you're watching it, but give you the atmosphere that you're looking for. And then the last one is called The Skeleton Key. That's from 2005. And that one has Kate Hudson, Jenna Rollins, John Hurt, and Peter Sarsgaard. So great cast. Really, really great atmosphere, because this one takes place in like New Orleans, and like this like old like Gothic mansion by the like bayou with the weeping willows, and there's like a swamp next to the house, and of course it's this old rundown place. And so great look, great feel. This movie though is very chilling. It's not a happy movie at all, but it has such a great like twist that I'm definitely not going to spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it. Kate Hudson is a hospice worker, and she goes to live with Jenna Rollins and John Hurt after he'd had a stroke and he can't speak or walk anymore. And she starts to think there's something really weird going on in this house. John Hurt is afraid to look in the mirror. She's like, there's no mirrors anywhere. And Jenna Rollins, acts really weird and creepy. If you're only used to her as like this sweet kind of motherly person, like in The Notebook or Hope Floats, this one is a wake-up call, because she's really kind of creepy. And my mom and I discovered this movie, and our favorite thing to do when we watch this movie is she says Kate Hudson's name really creepy in this movie multiple times. She goes, Caroline, like that.
Ooh,
and
that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
it's the chills. There is some criticism of this movie, which is fair. It's some of the racial depictions are probably you'd probably call them a little, I don't know about stereotypical, but they're definitely one-dimensional, and so they aren't given like motivation for things they're doing. But I honestly, I don't think you're supposed to look at it that deeply. It's just a standard, 2000 sort of psychological supernatural thriller, and really good. But it's not happy. It might leave you a little cold, but I still love it because it's just like, oh God, it's just so shocking that it leaves an impression for sure.
There were so many of those around that time, I feel like.
There were.
And
I only found it like, I'm gonna say maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. But it's nice to hear that you really enjoyed one enough to put on your list, because it's, it got to the point where it's like, what would separate one from another, and if it's something as simple as, oh, well, performances in this one were really memorable,
Yes,
like that's,
they are.
Then it helps you say, okay, well, out of all of them, I'm going to pick that one to go watch,
Yeah, Kate Hudson's good, Jenna Rollins. Peter Sarsgaard is so good at playing someone where you don't know what's the deal with him, where he sort of plays both sides, and he's really good at that, and he's good in this movie for sure. Poor John Hurt doesn't really have much to do, but he's convincing as someone who's absolutely terrified. So,
well, and you said what he can't speak, so
he can't speak. Yeah,
that is a challenge in itself, having to display emotions without being able to use your voice.
And he does very well. Yeah. So, what is your number 10?
Okay, number 10 is the 1990 adaptation of Roald Dahl's The Witches.
Okay.
And for anyone who hasn't seen this movie or the new adaptation or read the book, it is basically about a young boy, Luke, who discovers that there's a secret coven of child-hating witches, and they are led by the Grand High Witch, and he has to try to stop their plot to turn all children into mice. So this is basically, it is a family movie, geared more towards children, but it generally terrified me as a child.
Yes.
So, use caution if you are going to show it to your children, that the visuals in this are a little scary. And upon doing some research on this movie, I discovered that it was the last film project that Jim Henson worked on before his death. His creature shop was actually heavily involved with building all the prosthetics for the witches and the rats that were used during the transformation of the children into the mice. So, it's, a little sad that it was Jim's last film project, but I think, as someone who is a little creeped out by Muppets, it explains why I was also creeped out by the prosthetics in this movie. Angelica Houston is fantastic as the Grand High Witch, and there's a scene in this ballroom where all the witches are unmasking themselves and removing their wigs and faces, and they just become these horrible looking, half, I don't even know like how to describe them. It's just gross.
It is.
And that scene like generally terrified me like all throughout my childhood. But I really think that this movie stands the test of time, probably mostly because of Angelica Houston's performance in this. It's so over the top and dramatic, but it works in such a good way. And I think the child performances also are so strong. And then you have Rowan Atkinson, who
I don't remember that.
Oh gosh, he's kind of like, I always think of that scene in The Little Mermaid where like the chef is chasing like Sebastian and singing like Le Poisson.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like Rowan Atkinson is in this movie. Like he's just constantly chasing the mice to like keep from like tarnishing his hotels, the reputation of the hotel. So it's a really good comedic performance, but he's playing it totally straight. So yeah, I think it's a really, as an adult, it's a lot more fun to watch, not as scary. And I will say that this adaptation of the book has a happy ending. The book has a little more of a darker ending, so it was nice to see the movie give it a better spin, a more happy ending to it.
So
Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I saw it when I was a kid, and I haven't revisited it since, because of that one scene you're talking about where they take off their masks. It traumatized me so much and scared me so much that I never went back and watched it again. But as an adult now, I think I'd be okay, and I would like to revisit it because, well, one, I didn't even remember Rowan Atkinson was in the movie.
Yeah.
I only remember Angelica Houston. And he's so funny. So I definitely would like to revisit it. I like that it has a happier ending. Sometimes it's okay to deviate a little bit from the book.
Yeah.
Especially something for kids. You don't want it to be too bleak. Something for children. So I don't have like a lot of thoughts on it because I don't remember it, but I will say that I think Angelica Houston is one of the greatest actresses ever. I think she's so good in everything she's in. Everything I've seen her in, I love. She's good at these sorts of movies. I don't believe it's on either of our lists, but she's really good as Morticia Addams.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's fantastic in those movies. Her and Walt Julia are probably the highlights of those movies, and Christina Ricci. But from what I do remember, though, yeah, she's good at being very, very cold, and so yeah, it's definitely one I need to revisit. So my number 10 is Knives Out from 2019. It is what I like to call a cozy murder mystery. I love murder mystery films, and it definitely has that cozy feeling. It's not scary. It's funny and it has funny moments and serious moments. It has a fantastic cast. And I just rewatched it the other night, and I'm like, God, I really love this movie. For one thing, it has that, like I say, I'm not saying that right. The autumn atmosphere, with the leaves and the mansion. Lakeith Stanfield's character, he makes the joke. It practically looks like they live in the board game Clue with this mansion, which is true. It's gorgeous and different looking, the setting. But yeah, the cast is great. First of all, Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc is amazing with his, Southern drawl and idiosyncratic tendencies. And every time I'm watching it, I say a donut hole inside a donut's hole, right along with him, because I just love that line. But the rest of the cast is great too. Though, side note, most people think of Daniel Craig as James Bond, but I've never seen one of those movies. So I think of Knives Out. That's what I think of when I think of Daniel Craig. But
I'm the opposite.
Yeah, well, it's only because I haven't seen any of those. I mean, I would love to. I just have never gotten the chance. But the Knives Out cast, fantastic. Chris Evans, who is so good at playing such a slimy, weaselly, awful guy. Clearly relishing getting to play a character like that. The polar opposite of Steve Rogers. You can't get more different as far as, what kind of human being his character is. Ana de Armas, this was the first thing I saw her in. She's wonderful. Jamie Lee Curtis, Don Johnson, Christopher Plummer is great. Who else is in it? Toni Collette, Michael Shannon. All wonderful. Great cast chemistry. so funny, and it's like you like them and then you don't like them, and then so it makes the ending really satisfying. It has that it has that cozy feel that I like in a murder mystery movie, kind of like Murder She Wrote, but so kind of the same feeling, but much more intricate. So this is written and directed by Rian Johnson. He's a controversial director because a lot of people didn't like his Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. That's a whole other conversation. I'm not going to talk about that. But as far as these movies, so this one and then the second one, Glass Onion, and then I also watched for the first time another movie of his called The Brothers Bloom, which is really good too. He knows how to write like complex, funny mystery films with lots of details, and you can follow certain things that give you clues to the ending and things that pay off in the end. Like I watched this video on YouTube where it talked about the trajectory of a baseball throughout that film leads Jamie Lee Curtis to finding out her husband was been unfaithful to her, and it's just, I mean, that's like a little thing. Following this baseball keeps moving throughout the whole movie, and you think it's really nothing, but it actually leads to something very important. And so that's things like that make me appreciate the film and just make it brilliant. And then I love what everyone's wearing. It's very lots of color in the costumes. But
is this where the Chris Evans sweater came from?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, his like cable knit sweater within like the tan jacket and the scarf is like the big like costume of the movie. But a lot of the other characters wear like big pops of color, and it looks so great against the autumn tone of the film. And the ending is brilliant when she's it's very satisfying when she's holding this mug looking down on them, and it just says "My House" on the mug. I'm like, that's just a perfect ending. So remind me, have you seen this?
I have not seen this, but you have convinced me. I never thought it was something that would be up my alley. But just in you saying that it gives you like the fall cozy vibes, I will definitely be checking that out this fall season. Yeah, I mean, just in the cast alone, there's no reason why I shouldn't have watched it.
And it has like moments of like social commentary, which is very good. And just I remember, so I had so much faith that I would like this movie that this is one of the ones that I bought without ever having seen. I bought the Blu-ray, and I loved it from the first time I saw it. So yeah, definitely recommend. It might be streaming. I don't know.
Not on anything I have, but I don't have much.
Oh, sure. There's always renting, if you want to spend the money, or even just buying it. It probably is way down in price now, for sure. So what is your number 9?
Okay, number 9 is the 1990 TV miniseries version of Stephen King's It. And I went with this one rather than the newest adaptation of it because I truly think that Tim Curry's Pennywise is the most terrifying thing of all time. And it's sometimes even hard to talk about because like the nightmares I had from that. First of all, I should not have been watching this as a child, but my mom is a huge Stephen King fan. So it was in my life when I was young. And yeah, he gave me so many nightmares. I'm surprised I don't have a fear of clowns as a result of this movie, but I'm okay with them. So if anyone is unfamiliar with the story of it, I'm not sure how anyone could be, with it being so relevant the past couple years again. But basically, it's a group of childhood friends. They reunite as adults to confront Pennywise, who is a shape-shifting creature that they battled when they were young. And he exploits fear in children that leads to their deaths. So again, we're back on the child death topic, which is, of course, not a fun one. But I like this adaptation because the format is quite different from the way the newer version does it. So in the miniseries version, it's told basically through flashbacks from, so they're in their adult forms, and then it's being told through flashbacks back to their childhood. The newer adaptation of it, that entire first movie is just them as kids, and then the second movie you're introduced to them as adults. So a little different way that the story is told. I kind of like the flashback version. I like going back and forth between the adult and the child versions, throughout, because you kind of can see how they've changed from their child to their adult years, like in a very short amount of time. You can kind of see those changes, and also how they haven't changed in ways. I really think it's not my favorite. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Tim Curry. It just had like my brain just went blank, totally blank.
It's okay.
It's not my favorite Tim Curry performance, because that we'll get to in the next episode, but is my second favorite. And what he managed to do with just his voice and his facial expressions is truly remarkable. I mean, Pennywise is such a complex character, but he keeps it so simple in choosing to display himself as a clown. And the voice that he uses is just like, will haunt you till the end of time. But even though he's like this creature, he's so smart, and there's so much personality to him. And the way that he exploits each kid's fear slowly, like at first it'll just be a glimpse, out of the corner of your eye, and you're thinking, did I see something? No, I didn't see something. But then it slowly gets worse and worse and worse until you think that you're completely going out of your mind. And what I also like about this version is that a lot of the horrifying scenes are not shown, they're implied, which in itself is almost more scary, because you're left to your imagination of what's happening, or you're left to a sound. Those things are, to me, are so much more scary than I think seeing it actually happen on screen. Which, this was a made for TV movie, so they had to, there was a lot they couldn't actually show at the time. But I think one of my favorite things about this story is, at the heart of it, it's really about friendships and coming together to take down this evil force. And, they all had to come to the realization that the way that they were going to defeat Pennywise is you have to overcome your fear. And he feeds on your fear. And if you have no fear, he's weak. And there's nothing for him to feed off of. So
interesting.
It's really, a story of overcoming fear and the strength that comes from that. And that they were able to come together as adults. So, they defeat, and I use that in quotes, because they thought they defeated him when they were kids. They didn't. He returns 27 years later and starts the killing all over again, and they have to come together again as adults to take him down again. And, they've all moved on with their lives. They've all forgotten what happened when they were kids. And so now it's the realization of having to go through all that again, and your memories coming back to you, and that fear coming back again. And so they find out that they're still being haunted by those same demons and having to overcome it again. But what always stays the same is that collective friendship of the loser club, which is what they call themselves.
Aw.
And yeah, it's like kind of heartwarming for a Stephen King book. But yeah, I love this miniseries. I love this story. I thought they did a really good job adapting the source material, because it is a monster book. I mean, we're talking like 1,000+ pages. It is a big
Wow.
book. Yeah, and it's got that classic 1990s style. It's a little
Mhm.
over the top and dramatic. The performances are a little exaggerated, but I think it works for the early 90s. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't. I don't know if I ever will. I don't have like a blanket fear of clowns, but like creepy clowns, I do. They freak me out.
Yeah.
I've seen like pictures from this one and the remake, and short little clips. Then this one, the 90s one, looks more palatable,
Mhm.
that it'd be easier to watch. So if I ever did, this would be the one I would try. Because I saw a couple clips from the remake. One when he's in like the storm drain or something,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god. And then another one where he's like opening his mouth or something, and there's all these teeth, and it was just so awful. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't watch this. I didn't realize the remake was actually 2 movies. So they made 2 movies.
Yeah. It was It Part 1 and It Part 2, and I just watched them a few days ago, and
Do you think it warrants a whole 2 movies?
I do. It's a big story, especially
Okay.
when, you deal with them as children and them as an adults. This one was more graphic.
Yeah.
Um, like, you do see some of the kids kind of being killed, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I don't
don't. I'm
yeah.
fine of things being remade and different adaptations of things, but I'm not necessarily a fan of things becoming more grotesque and more violent.
Mhm.
Um, Now, of course, I mean, the book itself is graphic.
But it's different when you're reading something than when you're
Right.
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I do prefer the 1990s
Sure.
miniseries. Not to say that, the performances in the newer version are still great. But I just think Tim Curry's Pennywise is a little more terrifying.
But Tim Curry's so good.
Yeah, he is
He's
good.
good at being creepy, or
You
a
can
little
tell
off.
he
Yeah.
really enjoyed getting to create this character and having fun with it.
It's interesting that the concept is that he feeds off fear, and then if you're not afraid, then he's weak.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I mean, that kind of makes me think of did you ever see this? It was a TV miniseries of Alice in Wonderland from the 80s with like so many people in it.
Yes.
I mean, God, who was in it? Like Lloyd Bridges and Jack Warden and Sherman Hemsley and Jane Meadows and Roddy McDowell and all these people, all these really famous people. Red Buttons was the White Rabbit. And in that movie, there's the Jabberwocky, which totally scared me, as a
Oh, yeah.
kid, watching this dragon thing. But at the end, she defeats it because she stands up and overcomes her fear of it.
Mhm.
And she's like, I don't believe in you. I'm not scared of you anymore. And that's what helps her defeat it. So it's obviously it's not exactly the same, but it's sort of similar,
Yeah.
And yeah, very interesting. So if
Yeah,
I
and
ever do watch it, that would be the one I would watch.
then the fact that, like, Pennywise comes after children, but these were a group of kids that escaped him, so then he comes back to them as adults. So, it's like you're never truly free even if you grow up, which is also a scary thought.
That is very but so anyway, my number 9, speaking of Tim Curry, is Clue from 1985, another murder mystery. This one is just super funny. One of the funniest mystery movies ever. Of course, based on the board game. Now, if this was made nowadays, studios would get learn the wrong lesson from it. They would go, okay, we need more movies based on board games. No, that's just the foundation of the movie and what gives the character names. They had a great script and a great cast, and that's what made the movie so good. It didn't do well at first, but then it became like a cult classic over the years. It's from, did I say it's from 85? So that's a great year of a film, 1985. You know, you have Clue, you have Goonies, Back to the Future, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, lots of great movies. But Clue is one of those where the cast is so good that it's hard to like single out anyone. Though you can single out Tim Curry to a degree because he's probably the funniest in the movie. Along with, I would say, probably Madeline Kahn, but everyone's really good. Martin Mull and oh my God, my mind's gone blank about their names.
This is what happens when we do this. At least for me, it's late.
Okay, it's gonna bug me. I'm gonna look it up.
My brain stops working.
I'm like, they deserve to have their names said because they were really funny. Eileen Brennan, Christopher Lloyd. God, how do I forget Christopher Lloyd? Michael McKean, Leslie Ann Warren, Pauline Camp. She plays the maid. But it's so silly and over the top, but that's what makes it so fun. And so the interesting thing about this movie is that they made multiple endings. So that, like the Clue game, they had different endings where it's a different, murderer, room, and weapon. So when you went to the movies to see it, you would only see one ending. And you didn't know which one you were going to get. I believe there are 3 different ones. And so, but when you watch it now, like on DVD or streaming or something, they show all of them, which it would have been cool, not knowing what ending you were going to get back in 85. But I like having all of them because in each one, they all do something different and funny. And some of my favorite moments are in the different endings. So like Madeline Kahn has this whole rant about hating this woman who had an affair with her husband, and she's like, I hated her. It's like flames burning, it doesn't even make sense what she's saying, but it's so funny. But it's only in one of the endings. And then Tim Curry does this thing where he's trying to count all the bullets that have been shot out of the gun, and he just he's doing like a speed thing, goes 1 + 1 + 2 + 1 + 1, super fast, only how Tim Curry could say a line. And it's so funny. And if you'd only seen one ending, you would be cheated of that like comedy gold, basically. So it's good to have all 3 of them available to watch for your viewing enjoyment, as I say. But it's so fun. There's one more murder mystery on my list, which is another really funny one. That would make a great companion to Clue. So do you know this movie? Have you seen it?
I do. I loved this movie as a kid, and I think probably just because I loved the game, but also like I really love movies where it's a big ensemble and the ensemble is together for most of the movie, and you can see all the different interactions and everyone playing off of each other. I think that's really fun. And it's funny because we had it on VHS, and I'm now thinking back like, well, what ending did we have? Because we probably like, I know back in the day we would record movies off TV like on a VHS tape.
Right. Okay.
So it would have just been one ending, and now I'm thinking
probably
I probably haven't seen the other endings. So I do need to buy that one so I can
for sure
see all the other endings. Cause I would only have known one ending for my entire life. And of course it's been so long I don't remember which one it was, but
and they're all good. They're all good.
I do like I definitely loved that as a kid.
Speaking of all the ensemble together, I think the best part of the movie is when Tim Curry is going through each room, like recapping everything that's happened super, super fast, and with the funny jaunty music, and it's so funny. And side note, so do you know the TV show Psych?
I've not seen it, but I do know of it.
Okay, so well, one, you watch this show because it's so good. It's such an hilarious show, and it's so good. It's like in my probably my third favorite show of all time. Honestly, I love Psych. And they would do a lot of episodes that were homages to like films. And there is an episode that is a whole homage to Clue.
Okay.
The movie with people from the movie. So Christopher Lloyd, Leslie Ann Warren, and Martin Mull all guest star in the episode. And there is a moment where the main character, Sean, is doing exactly what Tim Curry did, going from room to room to room and recapping it super funny and super fast. And it's hilarious. If you love the movie, I'm sure, and you love the show, you'll love that episode. So to anyone who hasn't seen it, including you, please check out Psych. It's such a fun show. They do an homage to Friday the 13th, to The Shining, to the Blair Witch Project. Oh gosh, what else? I can't remember, but it's not like that's all they do, but
right.
They are probably the best show at doing that sort of thing, I would say, and it's such a funny show. But so, what is your number 8?
Number 8 is 1995's Casper.
Aww.
I mean, what can you say? This movie, it's a staple of our childhood, and it's one I still watch every single year. It warms my heart. It's just peak Christina Ricci. I mean, yes. I was so obsessed with her as a kid. I wanted to be Christina Ricci so bad. It's like she was in every movie that I was in love with in the mid-90s. And I think about her in that white dress, and like I wanted that to be me. But if anyone has not seen Casper, which how could you have not? But basically, Bill Pullman, Christina Ricci, they play a father and daughter. They move into this crumbling old mansion and discover that it is haunted by a friendly young ghost named Casper and the wicked uncles. And they take them on a wild ride. And I really want to highlight just how good Malachi Pearson is as the voice of Casper. For a kid to be able to do something like that, it's just really cool. He displayed so much emotion just in his voice. I mean, he was funny, but then you also really sensed the heartbreak as he was telling Kat about how he passed away. And for a kid to have that kind of talent at that age is just really impressive. And I really like how this movie deals with the subject of grief and how your family dynamic changes after you lose someone that's really important to you. This movie is basically about James and Kat navigating their new life without Kat's mom. And now you have James who's trying to raise a teenager by himself and the difficulties of that. And Kat moving to a new school and dealing with, being bullied and it's just a lot of relatable things that even though you're dealing with a movie about ghosts, there's a lot in the movie that's grounded and relatable. And of course, the scene of Devon Sawa coming down the stairs and saying to Christina Ricci, "Can I keep you?" I mean, what girl wasn't like swooning
Yes.
over this scene? It's like, I think one of the most memorable scenes of my childhood. And yeah, that between that and then there's another scene where the ghost of Kat's mom comes down and visits James, and that's a really beautiful scene as well. The music in this movie just highlighted these scenes so well, and it's just a really good, heartfelt movie.
I love Casper. I do. It's one of those ones I had a handful of movies on VHS, and this is one I watched a lot. Saw it in the movie theater. It's just it's heartfelt, funny, emotional. I loved Christina Ricci when I was young, and so I loved her in this movie, and it has that sort of feel that you love in a family friendly Halloween movie.
Mhm.
Some of the humor with the uncles and stuff is a little much,
Yeah.
but thankfully that's a small part of the movie.
Right.
Like the heart of the movie is so good. I love the dynamic between Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman. It was nice to see him playing a father. I think I'm like, which one came out first, this or Independence Day? I don't know, but they were so close together. It was just I love how he's the one who's having trouble, letting go, not Kat.
Yeah.
She's like, mom's not, you're not gonna find her. She's not gonna be a ghost. And the moment when the mother comes down, well, one, I think it's just visually interesting that they decided to put her in red.
True. Yeah, good point.
I'm like, the cliche thing would be that she'd be wearing white, but I'm like, who says there's not color in heaven?
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Of course there'd be color in heaven. It's heaven, it's beautiful. And yeah, that music is so haunting and beautiful. And I love when she strokes his hair. That's just so lovely. And I really love the moment when Kat is talking about her memories of her mom, these like small little things that she remembers, like the way she smelled like her soap and the sound of her making breakfast, and simple, sweet things that don't seem to mean so much, when the person's alive. But if you lose someone, those little things you treasure deeply, because you won't hear, she's not going to hear her mother making breakfast anymore. So you hold onto that sound in your head and in your memory. And, for being like a, kind of cutesy family movie, it's very deep. And, I love this movie. And I too love that moment of him walking down the stairs and saying, "Can I keep you?" I mean, how innocently and sweetly romantic can you get? Every girl our age was probably in love with Devon Sawa. I mean, there was like a handful of guys that almost every girl loved. Him, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, what's his name from Boy Meets World?
Ryder Strong.
Ryder Strong. Side note, I was just thinking about this movie the other day. I haven't seen it since it came out, but it has Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Devon Sawa, where they're like
Wild America, right?
Yeah, Wild America. They go out to film like nature. I'm like, I need to watch that movie again. I'm like, I feel like that might be a good movie to watch in the fall for some reason.
It might be. Yeah.
And because I haven't seen it since then. And I remember I liked it. And
it was like girls we didn't know what to do with ourselves. Like,
yeah, basically. And he's and it's a brief it's a brief scene, but you know, he captures our hearts, and that's why it's kind of nice to see them again and now and then together. You know?
Yes, I was gonna say that as well. Yeah, it was nice to see them. I think they probably filmed those probably around the same time.
They had to have been because they look really similar.
Yeah.
But another great movie, not a Halloween movie, but you know, a great movie.
I love that was like the movie of my childhood.
Yes. Yes. I remember showing it to a cousin. She lived in Texas and she came to visit, and I showed it to her and she'd never seen it, and she loved it too. And that one moment where one of the girls is almost drowning, she's like going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I'm like, "It's okay, don't worry."
Yeah, I just watched it not that long ago, and it still hits just as strong as it did when I was young.
But anyway, back to Casper. Love that movie. It is the 30th anniversary of that movie. It is being re-released in theaters. Wow. If people don't know, I am going to go see it. I'm going to go take my niece and nephew. Hopefully they'll love it too. They're very discerning with their taste, but but you know what's not to like. I think they'll love it, especially my niece. She's the right age. So so my number, are we on to my number 8, I think?
Yes.
My number 8 is The Illusionist from 2006. Not to be confused with the French film The Illusionist. That's from 2010, and that's an animated film, so it's way different. This is one of those, what they call twin movies. It is the twin movie of The Prestige, the Christopher Nolan movie from 2006. But so both movies are about magicians, and both are like set in a similar time period and have kind of a certain kind of look in the way it's filmed. But other than that, they're not anything alike. So The Prestige almost made my list, but I'm like, I can't have two movies that are like almost exactly the same. So I go, okay, which one am I going to pick? And this one, I chose The Illusionist because it is more romantic, and I'm a sucker for a good romance. So, but The Prestige is really good. So I do recommend watching that if you haven't seen it. It's probably my favorite of the Christopher Nolan movies I've seen. It probably is my favorite. But as far as The Illusionist, so the look of this movie and the whole like tone and feel, I just crave movies like this sort of not gothic, but like gothic light almost sort of period movie, you know, with the cinematography. It has like this haze and glow and neutral colors and like cobblestone streets and the sound of the horses, you know, clopping on the streets, and the lanterns and the glow from that. And, you know, like it's colder weather, so everyone's in like the suits and the long sleeve dresses. And the movie has such a beautiful beautiful visuals that I just love. And because it's about illusions, it's in like a lot of the scenes are in this old-fashioned theater with the lamp, with the gas lamps. And it has like this really serene, quiet, slightly spooky quality that I just love. But when they bring in color, kind of like The Village, when they bring in color, it's like striking. So there's a moment on stage where so this has Edward Norton and Jessica Biel, and they put her in this red hood, and they slowly puts it on her, and she's like facing the camera, and it just has such a great feel to it, and I just love it. So the cinematographer is named Dick Pope. Wrote it down. He got an Oscar nomination. It didn't win. Lost to Pan's Labyrinth. I can understand why.
Oh.
But it's like sometimes you go, can it be a tie, or, you know, or something like that. But this movie has the romance aspect, which I love. Wonderful chemistry between Edward Norton and Jessica Biel, who probably my favorite performances from each of them. Paul Giamatti's in it, and I love Paul Giamatti and everything he's in. He makes everything good, and I love his role in this. And then Rufus Sewell is in it, playing, surprise, surprise, the villain. But he's so good at playing these thoroughly nasty men. And I would like to watch something where he's not the villain. I don't think I've seen anything where he's not. I don't know. But he's so he's so good at doing these roles. This is why he keeps playing them, I think. But yeah, the score is great. The score is by Philip Glass. Great score. Very evocative. It just, yeah, like I said, I love the atmosphere of this movie and the romance, and it has like illusions in the story, not just like visual illusions, like what's going on is like an illusion. It's like a trick. And when Paul Giamatti figures out what happened, he's like at the train station, and it's like going back and forth between what happened and then him, and he just starts applauding, like that slow clap, and the realization on his face is just it's so great, because he's just like, well done, you fooled me. And very satisfying ending to this film. Another one, I discovered it, as an adult. I didn't watch it in 2006. I knew what it was, but just, you can't watch everything, back.
Yeah.
But it's one I remember always wanting to see, so I'm glad it lived up to my expectations. Now, was this a movie you'd seen?
I did see it in 2006 when it came out, but I just rewatched it the other day. And okay. I agree with everything you said about the visuals in this. I was blown away by the cinematography in this film. Mm-hmm. My favorite aspect of it was the use of the vignetting effect. So whenever they were doing a close-up on one of the characters, there would be this black hue around them.
Yeah.
And this warm glow on their faces, almost as if you're looking at them with like just a candlelight. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, it was just stunning.
It's beautiful, yeah.
And everything was so warm and almost like a little bit desaturated. Mm-hmm. And except, you're right though, with the cloak, the red cloak, I just couldn't stop just gushing in my head over how much I was living for the visuals in this movie. It's a very simple film when you think about it. There really aren't a lot of sets. It's just a couple locations that the story takes place in. It's not very long, but it's a very simplified movie. But the focus on the look and the focus on the performances is like the key aspect of this movie. And when you keep the other elements simple, it really heightens, I think, Edward's performance, Paul's performance, Jessica's performance. Like, everyone was so good in this. I really loved Paul in this. And you're right, his kind of excitement at the end of being like, I figured it out. Was really great. Philip Glass's score also just fantastic. Yeah, I love this movie so much more now than I did back in 2006. I don't think I had as much of an appreciation for cinematography back then, but yeah, this was really good. And in fact, if I probably would have put it on my list if I had watched it a little earlier.
Okay. Well, I told you about the one movie that I wanted to, but I'm like was thinking you were going to put it on my list, and I specifically left it out.
Yeah.
So I could talk about something else. Because I do definitely want to talk about that movie. We won't tell viewers what it is yet. But so what is your number 7?
Okay, number 7 is 1999 Sleepy Hollow with Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. And another one where I just want to talk about how pretty this movie looks. So cinematographer for this film is Emmanuel Lubetsky. and he is a 3-time Oscar winner for Best Cinematographer. And those 3 films were The Revenant, Birdman, and Gravity. So, I mean, right there, that speaks for his work in itself.
Did he do A Little Princess?
I don't know.
He might have.
I can check.
Yeah.
He has a very long list.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Little Princess. So that's like 95, I think.
Let's see. I mean, he's got The Tree of Life on there as well. Children of Men, The New World, A Series of Unfortunate Events. I mean,
well, that's great.
He did do A Little Princess. Yeah,
okay.
You were right.
I remember that name. Yeah, that's a beautiful movie. But anyway, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. So, the overall look of this movie, with the use of keeping everything in a cool tone and the use of fog and everyone's, I think what really struck out to me is everyone having, which, and this might just be classic Tim Burton, but everyone having like just such a smooth, pale face. It's almost like they put like a filter over everything to make everyone look perfect, you know. I mean, Christina Ricci like is almost unrecognizable in this.
Yeah.
With the blonde hair and, you know, the period costumes and everything.
But looks so beautiful.
It's just so, yeah, that's the thing. It's like you watch it and you're just thinking, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. But for me, this is, I don't think it's Tim's strongest story as far as Tim Burton movies go, but it's classic Tim Burton. And I think that's what I love about it. It's got such a great dark fairy tale vibe. It's not really that scary. It is a little gory. But it's what I expect from a Tim Burton film, but it takes it to that next level visually. And I really like Johnny Depp in this because he plays Ichabod in a way that's really refreshing. And something different that I think Johnny's ever done before. He's quirky. He's like a bit of an underdog. He's like oblivious to everything that the audience already knows, which I think is really funny. Like, we go into this movie knowing basically everything, and Ichabod doesn't know anything. So it's like we're almost laughing at him for like missing all the obvious and being so dismissive of everything. And it's like fun to like see him realize like, okay, there's something supernatural going on here. And then he just completely freaks out and like shuts down. So yeah, I thought it was nice to see Johnny Depp doing something a little different than what we've seen him do before. Christopher Walken as the Horseman, like I'm sure maybe that was supposed to be scary. I thought it was really funny.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was the teeth or the hair. I don't know. It was just like interesting to see him in that role. But the cast in this movie is just incredible. There's so many iconic English actors in this, like Richard Griffiths, Michael Gambon, Miranda Richardson. Who else was in this? Christopher Lee's in it. Ian McDermott, Casper Van Dien, Miranda Richardson, Jeffrey Jones. Like it's a stacked cast. And gosh, what more can I say about it? It's really good. Not creepy, but it gives me that fall feeling that I crave, you know, of just like something, it's not scary, but like just a little spooky and fun.
Yeah, it's not creepy, it's spooky.
Yeah.
And there is a difference. Yeah, for sure. Sleepy Hollow's in my top 5, so I'm not going to say too much but I agree with everything you said. It's my favorite Tim Burton movie, right above Edward Scissorhands. I love Johnny Depp's performance. I love how funny it is, and that, like you said, everyone has been telling you, what's going on. And it's like you just didn't believe it. And then how he's fainting, and when he wakes up in bed and he's like pulling the covers up over him, and he's like, it was a headless horseman. Like, yes, we know. You don't understand. It was a horseman, headless. And then he faints again. I mean, that's just so. I love that there's humor in the movie, because then it stops it from being too scary. It scared me a little bit the first time I saw it, because it was like kind of honestly the first movie like that I'd ever seen. I watched it in the movie theater. Pretty darn sure it's the first R-rated movie I ever saw in a movie theater. I went with my mom. So in high school, I took a film class. It was like when I first started getting into not just liking movies casually, but like learning about movies. And then we had to go see 3 movies in the theater, and Sleepy Hollow was one I chose. And you write a little review on it. And I don't think it was the first R-rated movie I saw. I think I saw Scream before that. God knows how I could watch that that young, because it still scares me now, the idea of it. But this one, it's not really scary. Just a little bit, just spooky, and great cinematography, great art direction, amazing cast. It is funny, like at the beginning of the movie, when you're looking at all these people, it's like, okay, here we have Tim Burton meets Harry Potter meets Star Wars meets what's the other thing? I lost my train of thought.
Well, I know. I mean, for me, Miranda Richardson. Now, granted, this came out before Phantom of the Opera, but she's Madame Giry in Phantom. So it's like so many other fandoms are all coming together in this.
Yeah, I know. It is funny when you watch it now and you go, oh, look, there's Dumbledore, there's Rita Skeeter, there's the Emperor,
right?
There's Mr. Dursley. I mean, it is funny. But yeah, phenomenal cast. I will save all my thoughts, but just to say that, I love Christina Ricci in this movie. So beautiful. Love her costumes, especially the one she wears at the end, that black and white striped dress. So striking. I would love to dress up like that for Halloween. And I loved Michael Gambon in the movie too. I think he's so good. What a wonderful actor he was. May he rest in peace. So good in everything he did. But I will save the rest of my thoughts for next time. And my number 7 is another murder mystery, and another funny murder mystery. It is Murder by Death from 1976. Now, unlike Clue, which is pretty straightforward, this is a parody spoof film. It is, I call it delightfully nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense. You will reach the end of this movie, and if you go into it hoping that the murder is going to make sense, it doesn't. But that's done on purpose, because it's almost like a commentary on detective novels, and where clues are brought in at the last minute, characters are brought in at the last minute, and it's like, how is anyone supposed to guess this if you bring everything in at the last minute? So it's like, I like to call this, it's like a thinking person's parody. It's very intelligent. It has some social commentary in it that would, I think, normally might be written off if you look at it just on surface level. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's a spoof of famous detectives, and the cast is amazing. So David Niven and Maggie Smith are Nick and Nora Charleston. Excuse me, Dick and Dora Charleston, instead of Nick and Nora Charles from The Thin Man. Peter Sellers is Sidney Wang, which is like Charlie Chan. James Coco is Monsieur Perrier instead of Hercule Poirot. And Peter Falk is Sam Diamond instead of Sam Spade from the Maltese Falcon. And then Elsa Lanchester is Jessica Marbles instead of Miss Marple. So the names are funny in itself. And all those people are so good. Alec Guinness is also in it. He plays a blind butler who is so funny because everything he thinks he's doing, he's never doing, including the beginning of the movie where you don't know it's Truman Capote yet. Truman Capote plays someone named Lionel Twain, who invites all these famous detectives to his creepy, mansion to solve a murder, basically. And he hands these letters to mail. They don't have any address on them. They just have a name and a city. And he's putting the stamps on them. And then you see that all the stamps went on the desk. None of them went on the envelope. But they magically still got to all these detectives somehow in the mail. And another thing, he thinks he's like ladling out soup from the cook who can't hear or speak. And he's talking to the cook who holds up this letter, and she doesn't know the butler's blind. He doesn't know she can't speak. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So he's like, there's no soup here. And James Coco's like, there's no soup here. What do you mean? There's nothing in my dish but my dish. And he goes and he yells at the maid. Of course she can't hear anything. And he says, I'm serving them hot and nothing. So then he brings back dinner and he's like, again, Monsieur Perrier, he's like, oh no, Franks and beans. This is the worst thing ever. He's so dramatic because he's always hungry. And in fact, one of the funniest lines is James Cromwell plays his like valet, and he has a thick French accent, and he's talking about feeling like scared. Like, I feel scared in my, instead of saying bones, he says, I feel it in my buns. And James Coco's like, you have buns? It's like, no, the buns in my body. He's like, you should know not to talk like this when I'm so hungry. This movie, it's so ridiculous. It's so funny. And they make fun of every single character, and every single, like, they make fun of the French, the British, the Japanese. They're making fun of everyone. Now, Peter Sellers is not Japanese, but the casting of him is specifically a criticism of the Charlie Chan casting of a white man. And it's done on purpose to highlight the ridiculous nature of doing that, because Lionel Twain is constantly like criticizing the fact that he doesn't use prepositions again, and that is a criticism of the way he was depicted in those movies, where he wouldn't say his prepositions. And the other way, that it's a loving homage, but it's also like critique that the person who plays his son actually is Japanese. They didn't cast a white guy to play his son. They cast a Japanese kid, and he's the most level-headed person in the entire movie. He's really smart. I mean, at some point, it's like he could solve he's just as smart as his father. He could solve the mystery. But there is something I wanted to read because it highlights those things, because like Peter Falk's character is also really sexist and says things that are not good. They definitely would not fly today. So, I mean, it is like a commentary on that you shouldn't be saying this stuff, but some people still might, not like watching it. So, which is fair. I can understand that. But so this person, it was on their website. His name's Eric Binford, and he explains it really well. He says the sporadic bursts of criticism embedded in the humor. For example, the film makes a point of ridiculing which they do, Falk's character, who is an incorrigible sexist. Niven is also the brunt of a bunch of jokes for treating his wife, Maggie Smith, dismissively. Most interesting is the movie's attitude towards Charlie Chan. It's important to mention that Sellers isn't making fun of the Asian detective. He's making fun of a white actor playing an Asian man, and that's an important distinction. The running gag about Chan misusing prepositions, and the joke is directed at Hollywood's stereotypical interpretation of the legendary Chinese detective. So, yeah, that describes that aspect of the movie so well. I've loved this since my parents introduced it to me when I was a kid. It's written by Neil Simon, and when I was a kid, actually, some moments of it actually kind of creeped me out, even though it's a little, it's funny. So there's a part where, I am spoiling a little bit, where the maid, Peter Falk comes in and he's like holding up this fake arm. And it's like, then it shows that the maid was just a mannequin. And I'm like, and it sort of creeped me out seeing like it all in pieces and stuff. But you're going like, what? How is she not a real person? It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't when you think about it. It's like, maybe that mannequin was just in there. Maybe she was fake, or maybe she's a real person. Who knows? It doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to laugh at it. But there are a few other lines I want to point out just because they make me laugh so much. Two are from Peter Falk, and one of it, everyone's yelling, and he shoots off his gun in the air, and he's like, "Nobody move!" And they're like, "What? I got to go to the can again. I don't want to miss nothing." And then the other one is, he walks out of the room and then he tries to walk back in, and it's locked, and he's like, "Locked from the inside? That can only mean one thing, and I don't know what it is." And then the other ones are David Niven. So when they're at dinner, they notice that they're not sitting properly, like at a proper dinner party. The husband and wife wouldn't sit next to each other. So they go to move, and then all of a sudden these swords come down behind them. And David Niven, he's like, "Oh, just as I thought, another test that could have cost us our lives, saved only by the fact that I am enormously well-bred." And David Niven is someone who, he's so good at delivering a line, especially like quick, witty lines. Like he has that famous thing at the Oscars where there was a streaker behind him. So this guy ran out naked behind him, and he had this zing. He came up with this zinger on the spot for this guy, and he's like, "Isn't it a shame that this guy is going to be known for stripping off everything and showing everybody his shortcomings?" And I'm like, he just came up with that on the spot and said it like no one else can. And the other one is the room goes dark, and Maggie Smith says, she calls him Dickie. "Oh, Dickie, don't touch me." And he's like, "It's not me. I got my hands in my pockets." And then Peter Falk says, "I'm afraid they're my pockets." I'm like, what? How do you have your hands in someone else's pocket? It's hilarious. Like I said, it'd be a perfect movie, murder mystery, funny movie night with this movie and Clue. It's so funny. I think this one's better and funnier because it's a little bit smarter. And if you like spoof movies, especially ones that are, intelligent and witty, definitely recommend Murder by Death. Now, you do have to know all the things they're referencing to fully understand it.
I was going to ask that, would it be as enjoyable if you didn't?
I think to a degree, but you'll like it more when you know what it's referencing. So, I mean, you could just do a little bit of research about what these characters are supposed to be like. And then there's like other references. Like at one point, Peter Falk is talking about the last time I trusted a dame, she went out for champagne. 20 minutes later, the Nazis invaded France, which is a reference to Casablanca.
Oh, okay.
So there's things like that in the movie. But even if you don't get everything, you could still find something to enjoy about it. So yeah, this is one you haven't seen, right?
It's not, but I love Maggie Smith, so seeing her in a comedic role like this, I think would be a lot of fun.
She's beautiful in it, very funny. I like their characters. I love their costumes. And what's funny is they're always like walking around with cocktails in the car. They're outside in the fog. They're still holding the cocktails. And there's one line where they're talking about there was a body, and then there wasn't any. He was naked, and she's like, "Why would anyone want to?" And all of a sudden, the body's missing. She's like, "Why would anyone want to steal a dead, naked body?" And then he whispers, something to her, and she's like, "Oh, that's tacky." And yeah, she delivers the line so well. Everyone is really good in it. Yeah, for sure. I definitely recommend it. So, what is your number 6?
Oh, my number 6 is from 1998, Practical Magic. This is my go-to cozy fall movie, just like Knives Out is for you. And it's interesting that this movie has kind of come back around again, and developed this cult status. I don't know if it's just because we're all nostalgic for the 90s. And that cozy fall feeling, but it's really great that it's kind of come back, and every single person is using Alan Silvestri's score on their TikToks and Instagram reels, for their fall reels and such. And I really love the theming in this movie. In addition to, the overall look of it. I mean, you're talking about the quintessential small town, a beautiful old home, which just in itself screams fall. And then you're dealing with witches, of course. So if anyone's not seen this movie, it's basically about two witches. They're played by Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. They're raised by their aunts in a very small town, and the town is very prejudiced against witches. And the family is dealing with a generations-old curse that prevents them from finding lasting love. And I think at the heart of this movie really is sisterhood. And I think maybe initially they probably tried to make it like a nice rom-com. But I think really the heart of this movie is sisterhood and not so much the romance. When you look at the relationship between Sally and Jillian, I kind of like that they contrast each other. Sally is a little bit more intuitive and grounded, and then Jillian's a little more spontaneous and charismatic, but yet they still can come together and make a great team, and they're always there for each other. And I really like particularly the end of this movie where the entire town comes together to save Jillian, and it just shows that despite everyone's differences, women will come together to help other women. And I think, especially in today's world, that is a really important message to relay. This movie has just become a comfort movie to me within the past couple years. And I'm really excited and nervous for the next one. Because when you bring something back that has become a cult classic, it's always a little nerve-wracking. Is it going to do it justice? Is it going to just be too little too late at this point? Some things are really meant to be a one and done. And then other times it can be a worthy addition to the story. So it's too early to tell at this point, but I'm going to stay optimistic and stay excited for it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this film?
So this is a movie. I thought I had seen it like many, many years ago, and I didn't vibe with it. But unlike a few weeks ago, unlike everyone's like you said, everyone's always using this music and talking about this film. I'm like, I need to give it another chance. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, clearly I only saw it. If I saw this whole movie, I don't remember it, because I remembered like nothing from it other than the fact that they were witches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't remember the plot. Like, when Goran Vishnik showed up, I'm like, he's in this movie? And he's like a monster, basically. I mean, I had no memory of any of this. And I really, really enjoyed it. I loved, like you said, that it's about sisterhood and women supporting each other and coming together. I love how much they love each other. And then that at the end, when which sister's which? Jillian's Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
When Jillian needed it, that the people in the town who had been not nice came together for her when she really, really needed it, especially when, you know, she had been maybe a little snotty and like that. Not that they didn't deserve it, but you know, she wasn't as how should I say it? Like, she's just a little bit more abrasive compared to Sally.
Yeah.
So, like, in your face about certain things. So I'm glad that if they came together for Sally, you know, it wouldn't be like so shocking. But the fact that they did for Jillian, I think made it more meaningful, actually, because of that. And I love how much they love each other, and that she just drops everything to go help her sister. And this movie went a lot darker than I realized it was going to go.
Yeah.
So to its credit, you know, that made the movie good. I just wasn't expecting it. Love the look of it. Love the house. Who wouldn't want to live in that house?
Oh my gosh, I know.
love the whole neighborhood. I watch movies like this and then I go, where was it filmed? Let's go there, you know, sort of thing. I love small towns, especially like coastal towns with the pretty little homes. And yeah, especially for fall. I love movies like that. And I really enjoyed it. I loved Aidan Quinn in it.
Oh, yes.
He's, you know, as her like perfect like soulmate, because he's not a traditional leading man, but in this movie he's very swoony. And especially in the scene where they kiss each other for the first time, I'm like, ooh, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that the overall theme of the movie is sisterhood, we cannot forget that the romance is very good.
And that's the only thing I'm a little leery about the sequel. I don't know if he's going to be in it. You know, you don't want them to taint your memory of the original, but you also want to, you know, be optimistic. One nice thing that I saw is that Lee Pace is going to be in it.
Oh,
who I love him. Like, I have like a huge, massive crush on him. Have since Pushing Daisies. He is one of the most beautiful men to ever walk this earth. I mean, seriously, just a tall drink of water and so beautiful. And he's a phenomenal actor too. You know, he's so good in everything. So seeing his name gives me hope for sure. But so we're on to the last movie. It's my number 6. It is What Lies Beneath from 2000. This is a supernatural psychological thriller with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford, directed by Robert Zemeckis, and actually written by Clark Gregg, the actor Clark Gregg, who most people know as Agent Coulson from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Avengers. And when the first time I saw this movie, probably everything's about 5-6 years ago. I watched a lot of new movies about 5-6 years ago, during COVID. When his name popped up as the screenwriter, I'm like, excuse me? Since when does Clark Gregg write screenplays?
Yeah, I had no idea.
And it's a great script. It's probably, I would say a lot of people wouldn't think of this movie to watch during this time of year, but they should, because it's very spooky. It has all the great atmosphere you could want. An isolated setting in New England, this big, beautiful house right by a lake. It's always foggy and overcast. Sometimes it's raining. And Michelle Pfeiffer starts to see all these like picture frames are falling over and things are being written in the mirror. So she's like, I'm being haunted by someone. And because she's an empty nester, her daughter went away to college, and her husband, played by Harrison Ford, is gone a lot for work. He's a professor. They start to wonder, like, is this really happening? Or is she like, imagining it, seeking attention, this sort of thing. But no, she's being haunted for sure. And there's this whole mystery around that. There's this mystery about things from a few years ago that she can't remember. A mystery, about who the ghost is. And at some point she's possessed by the ghost, and phenomenal acting on Michelle Pfeiffer's part in that scene, because it's polar opposite to the way her character is. So it's very kind of creepy, but like sexy too. And wonderful, great performances from both her and Harrison Ford. I just love this movie. Great twist. I don't want to spoil. I would say most people who are at least familiar with it are familiar with the famous scene in the movie. Is her, she's in a bathtub and the water's filling up, but she can't move. So, which is terrifying, that the feeling of that she might drown. Spoil, she gets out. I know I'm not going to spoil the twist of the movie, but she gets out. I won't tell you why she's paralyzed or any, how she gets in there or anything, but it's definitely the whole movie, but especially that scene is like a masterclass of dramatic tension, because there are moments where the score like drops out and it gets super quiet, and you're like, and there's like jump scares, but not too many, and it's just very chilling, and just amazing. And I love it. I love it so much. It's become one of my favorite things to watch during this time of year.
I don't know how this movie has escaped me. I had not heard of it, which is shocking when you have two powerhouses like, Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer. I love Michelle Pfeiffer. So I don't know how I missed this movie. I must find it. And
you should.
I look forward to seeing it.
It's like Michelle Pfeiffer, you watch this movie and she's so strikingly beautiful, but so naturally. I mean, I know she has makeup on, but it doesn't look like she does for a lot of the movie. But she's just beautiful, and so she's so good at expressing how she's feeling just through her eyes. She has very expressive eyes, and if you like Harrison Ford, definitely a movie you should watch for sure. It's good and creepy. But that's all our movies so far. So why don't we recap our 10 through 6 before we say goodbye? So you can go ahead.
Okay. Number 10, I had 1990s The Witches. Number 9 was the 1990 TV miniseries It. Number 8 was the 1995 Casper. Number 7 was 1999 Sleepy Hollow. And number 6 was 1998's Practical Magic.
Okay, my number 10 is Knives Out from 2019. 9 is Clue from 1985. 8 is The Illusionist from 2006. 7 is Murder by Death from 1976. and 6 is What Lies Beneath from 2000. So that's going to do it for part 1 of our favorite fall, autumn, Halloween movies. We have already scheduled part 2, so it won't be long after this one comes out that everyone will be able to enjoy that video. But I hope everyone enjoyed this one, enjoyed watching, enjoyed listening. Please leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. My channel isn't new, but the podcast is new, so I'm still trying to grow it, trying to get more viewership from it. So if you love fall Halloween movies, I hope you enjoy this, and share it with people who also enjoy these types of movies. Maybe we recommended some films that they never heard of that they would really, really love. So everyone take care. Have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this, and goodbye.